Hi everyone, Wismeril here. Today I want to talk about PvP, continuing this mini-series of videos that I'm releasing. There are a few different topics that I want to address with this video. But first things first, big shout out, big thanks to all the pro players and all the veterans PvP that reached out to me to talk to me and tell me a few different things that are very helpful in what I'm trying to do, which is to bring public information for anyone that's new to PvP or that's a returning veteran that wants to experience the fields of hatreds in Season 2. And big thanks to everyone that's been feeding me intel, allowing me to update this series of video with the latest information you need to have if you want to tackle on PvP. Right, this being said, there are three to four different topics that I want to address in this video. The first one's gonna be the myth about the damage reduction cap at 45%. I fell for it, it's a myth. There is no hard cap at 45% damage reduction. This information has been conveyed from different sources of pro players, and I tend to believe the feedback they gave me. But it's not black and white, there's a gray area. There's no hard cap per se, but there's a big diminishing return that is other than having an inverted multiplication between those numbers. There is a value at which the damage reduction falls off, heavily falls off. So there is still something in place that's hidden, that has been worked on, like tested during Season 1, but in Season 2 I didn't see any data where allowing me to safely say the hard drop-off is at value X. I don't have that information yet. I guess I want to test those things this week or next week. We'll see how it fits with the amount of work that I would like to cover. But I guess at some point the best way to bring you guys this information is to test it by myself, i.e. being hit 200 times running setup 1, being hit 200 times running setup 2, 3, and so on, in order to have data and identify some drop-off breakpoints. Right, so that's the first topic I want to address, and I will talk more during the video. The second topic is I saw many players requesting help to get the, what is it called again, the champion chapter of the season journey, and especially the Come At Me objective, which is about becoming the hatreds chosen in the PvP zone by killing several players in a row in hostile areas. And I want to do hit two birds with one stone by addressing that in this video also, because I've been experimenting with damage reduction values, and I came up with a pretty tanky setup that I will share with you today, and that I think will help all those players to achieve this objective the right way, not by just looking for players that are willing to die 20 to 30 times so that you can achieve this objective. You can do it by yourself by just assembling a solid PvP build, and by solid I mean a fairly tanky one. See, I've been playing with DR numbers, damage reduction numbers here and there, and came up with a very tanky build. I'm not saying this build is a tournament build that you can bring it in your Rift Esports tournament and expect to win everything, but you will likely crush anyone that's not aware of a lot of things in PvP and that you will find in the fields of hatred, like this barbarian. This build does less damage than your typical PvP build, but you're fairly tanky. You're not gonna die with this build, so it will allow you to reach that objective, because every time you die, it resets the counter of this 100 counter that you can see here in the top right corner. And if you die, you have to start all over again. So by running a very tanky build, I think you're going to have a decent time, an easy time doing, like achieving that objective. Beware though, it's not a top of the board build, so if someone's very skilled in PvP, I didn't encounter any during my runs, it's just random people here and there, you might have a hard time, but for the most part, this build, as you will see in the video, allowed me to achieve that objective. And it has like very, very good breakpoints here and there, though I'm not too sure on the exact value, but values, but I've been assembling something that's pretty solid and then that I want to share with you. So that's gonna be the two things I want to talk about today, having like some subtopics that we will cover here and there. One of which being, I got asked a lot as to what's the gameplay you need to have. I mean, how you should play this ball lightning build in PvP, so I want to touch on that. Mana management, knowing your cooldowns, it's easy stuff, but I got asked that, so I want to cover that, a little bit of the gameplay when it comes to PvP. Right, let's get started. Let's start from the beginning. So the first thing, let's talk gameplay first, because I think that's what people want to hear first. What's very important when you run this ball lightning build, it's not really that you need to have a million ball lightning orbiting around you right at the start. It's not about that. You just need to have a few to start the fight. Then you need to make the moves that matter. One of them is making your opponent vulnerable. And you achieve that by dashing through him, thanks to the Metamorphosis Vampiric power. That's something you really want to do at the beginning of combat. And then from there, that point, you just manage your cooldowns and mana a little bit, but really you pay attention to your positioning and the plays that you're going to make in order to close the gap on your opponent and deal damage and go for the throat when it's really the time to take him down, okay? So if we look at how I approach my fights, maybe this one's a good example. Well, actually, it's a strange example because I just run on a sorcerer that was trying to have his objective done, this one here, by just killing people that were willing to let him kill them over and over and over again. So I was a little bit of a fun killer because I came right there. There was this sorcerer with 3 or 4 of his mates, and he was trying to achieve that, I believe. I killed the sorcerer and all his mates, so I did reset his bounties. But yeah, anyway, let's look at the gameplay. So you see, I entered a zone where someone is recycling his shards. So I'm expecting to find someone here. As I enter the zone, I'm going to throw a few ball lightnings to start to empty my mana bar, and my mana bar is going to refill anyway as I use my cooldowns thanks to the prodigy aspect, right? So I'm just firing a few, see, 1, 2, 3, and then as I use teleport to close the gap, I'm seeing that sorcerer over there who's playing ball lightning too. This is going to give me back some mana. And then after teleporting to him, what I'm looking to do is to dash through him or through this barbarian that I see, this level 80 right there that's not moving, and make them vulnerable. So you see, I should do that somewhere over there, I believe. Yeah, I'm chasing them. So there's 3 of them, 4 I believe. So I made one vulnerable, the sorcerer, because I dashed through him. There's this one, the barbarian is now vulnerable because I dashed through him. And you see, in the meantime that I'm using my cooldowns, I'm also putting more and more, firing more and more ball lightnings. See, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 of them, and this is the result of me like having 3, 4 at the beginning, then spending a cooldown, getting mana, spending the mana, then spending a cooldown, getting mana, spending the mana, and that's basically what you're looking to do. The first part of the fight is the setup part. Close the gap, make them vulnerable, spend the mana that you generate with more and more ball lightnings around you, and when this is all done, then that's the time you go for the jugular. You try to kill him, which is what I've been doing here. See, they are vulnerable. I have a decent amount of ball lightnings around me, and that's the time I would kill him. I will comment on deep freeze a little bit later in the video. Actually, that was 2 ball lightnings, I believe, and 1 barbarian. So this last one. So when the health bar is gray, it means they are using flame shield. So they are invulnerable and you can't kill them. But since you're running a very, very tanky version of ball lightning, that's fine. You can just stick to the opponent and try to kill them. You don't really need to pull off the best jukes of your life or outplay the opponent that much. You just need to run to him, close the gap, and try to deal damage. If you're a new player, that's how you're going to enjoy more playing a PvP build. Like not having to think to a million things and just focusing on the things that really matter, right? Okay, let's look at another example. This one over there. Most of the fights of the video is when I was running after, I got the message that someone is recycling his shards, and I was taking the fight there. So you see, my mana bar is nearly empty. I did fire 4 ball lightnings, that's 5 with this one. Then I'm going to teleport, get back some mana, and then try to dash through the enemy. That's another ball lightning. I dash. He has his flame shield up, so I'm not dealing damage with the metamorphosis, so I'm not turning him vulnerable. That's what just happened here. And so we are just playing hide and seek, and at the exact moment where his flame shield goes off, that's the time I kill him. When you're facing another ball lightning sorcerer in a duel, when you kill him, get away from the corpse, because you see there are still a few ball lightning rotating around his corpse, and they still deal damage. So you don't want to be near him when he's dead, right? It'd be silly to die at that moment when you won the fight, okay? Next fight, yeah, I have to highlight something. This is not top of the dogs dueling with players. This is just random players that are found in the fields of hatred. The next things I want to do, there are 2 things. I want to test some things to try to identify those breakpoints and make them public. And I want to go on with some duels with like pro players. They are very likely to beat the something out of me. But it's fine. I'm going to learn a lot of things, and that's how I see myself continuing learning things about PvP. Now I have identified a few different builds and a few different breakpoints, so I'm going to assemble something that makes sense. I'm going to duel against a few different opponents, each class. That's top of the leaderboard, if I may say. And I will report on the channel my findings, analyzing the meta, the matchups and stuff, and I will feed you guys with intel that you can use. So over there, that's a level 80, so I'm just going to waste him pretty fast. That's a barbarian. He's gone. It was just a random player in the fields of hatred. But hey, we have to get up to 100 to get the hatred chosen. So that's the same, this guy is the same sorcerer that I already killed once or twice, I believe. So we're in for a rematch. So see, he has flame shield up. I was able to make him vulnerable. So that's interesting. Let's look at what happened. So that'd be just after that. Right, so the sorcerer is there. I have 5 ball lightnings up. I don't have any mana. I'm going to teleport, I believe. That's usually how I start my fight. No, okay, that's ice armor. My mana is back, and I think that's... I dashed through him. He does not have flame shield up. I was able to make him vulnerable, and I think he did the same. No, he did not return the favor. I'm not vulnerable. I have some mana. I'm going to spend it while trying to gap the close, like hit and run. You hit the air, but it's a hit and run technically. And trying to close the gap on him. This is flame shield. Look, his health bar is gray. So normally if you were playing a squishier build, you would not try to close the gap at that moment. You would just like, but this build is very tanky. So you can do that. You can just chase him and hit all his ball lightnings. And I have the tendency to, you know, I'm paranoid. So I dash through him more than I should because now he's vulnerable and I should take that information into account. But hey, can't help it. I'm always doubtful. Did I really apply the Vampiric Curse? So I tend to do that too much. Yes, so the reason why I'm running Deep Freeze and not, what's it called again, Unstable Currents. Unstable Currents is more for experienced players when there's a window when you can kill the enemy and you want to go for the juggler, you pop Unstable Current and you go for it and you take him down. But that's for experienced players because you have to read your opponent, you have to know when that's the time. If not, then Deep Freeze is better. Look at that. All my cooldowns are down. I don't want to take any fight where I can't sustain with my shields. So I'm going to pop twice Deep Freeze just to refresh my cooldown at that stage of the fight. I realize, hey, I don't have much going on. Well, I just reset the teleport, but that's something that's random. So I realize I don't have much going on. Up. Deep Freeze off, and I have all my cooldowns back. So I really recommend you run also Deep Freeze if you're new to PvP. If you're an experienced player, then you can try Unstable Currents. The other thing that, and I'm gonna comment on what's gonna happen next. The other great thing about Deep Freeze is that when you are immune and you are inside your ice prison, if I may say, your ball lightnings are still orbiting around you and dealing damage. So the other way you want to use your Deep Freeze is when you think you're about to die, you don't have any cooldowns left, you can't generate any shield to sustain the damage, then that's the time you would jump really on top of your opponent and cast Deep Freeze and have the ball lightnings damaging him while you are invulnerable. And here we're playing hide and seek with this guy because I think I already killed him once or twice, can't remember. So basically what he wants to do is just to try to escape, which he was very good at doing. And this allows me to introduce the second thing that you're looking to have with this build, high mobility. You are a melee build, so you really rely on closing the gap to deal your damage. Having a lot of mobility having a lot of mobility will allow you to do that. I have to say this guy was pretty good in evading me all the way. Like I think we have the same mobility, it's just worse at him when it comes to running away or running period. So it was very good with his movement, dodging, juking and stuff. So shout out to him. He couldn't win the fight because I'm too tanky. He couldn't kill me. So the only thing he could do was escape. And he was very good at doing that. He outplayed me a few times. So shout out to him. He was better than me when it comes to that. If he had a better build, he may have killed me. All right. But unluckily for him, I found him again there, hiding behind that rock. That's the same sorcerer. And this time he won't be so lucky. We're pretty far from the town there. And so he's trying to juke already. Flame shield, can't kill him. And then, oops, he's trying to deal damage. I'm trying to deal damage. He's not even vulnerable. But this time he's not going to run back to town. So it also highlights the importance of having a very tanky build if you want to complete the objective, the Hatred's Chosen objective. You're not gonna die, you're going to kill people more or less easily unless they are pro players, but random people you're going to find out in the fields of Hatred is gonna be easy fights and you're going to kill them. So another fight, see, I'm entering the zone, just popping, oops, 3 ball lightnings. I don't have mana. Then I'm going to look to close the gap. Oh, that's a 75 necromancer. So forget about it. It's not gonna be a great fight. But I always approach my fights in the same way. Spend the mana, generate mana, dash through your opponent. Oh, this one's interesting. So here's a level 100 barbarian. Barbarians are very strong in PvP at the moment, as of the current patch. It's gonna take me a long time to kill him, but you know what? It doesn't matter because it's going to take him also a very long time to kill me. I'm not sure he has an optimized PvP build. What I can say is that he's not running the unique amulet that would make him invulnerable, because instead of seeing damage numbers here, I would only see absorbed. If you look at the numbers, well, he has his shouts out, so I'm not dealing a lot of damage, but this build I have doesn't deal a lot of damage compared to the glass cannon versions, but it's not easy to take down, and that's what is great when you're running the build for the purpose of achieving the Hatred's Chosen thing. See, when it comes to the Barbarian, there's a tiny window when his shouts and defensive skills are down, and that's the time you want to go for the Juggler. It doesn't last long though. This guy is running Bleed Barb, and you can see that I'm very tanky, but at some points my defenses are down. I just have to pop a cooldown to get more shield and regenerate health, and we're back to combat. This is very, very tanky. This is more or less as tanky as you can get in terms of theory crafting, and I was able to take him down during the window when his defenses were down. But it was a long fight, a very long one. So this guy was the closest opponent to like having a PvP build, a real one. That's the closest I found during this test session I had the other day. So what's that? Level T75, level 75, not gonna last long. I shouldn't have BM him, he was just level 75 trying to do his things. 86, so it's gonna be a very easy fight. Yeah, he's just running away. So not much is gonna happen here. What else we got? Let's look at the next fight. Level 95, so I don't think much is gonna happen. I'm just going to take him down quickly, even though my build is very tanky and not super high on the damage side, but it does the job, especially against those lower level players. So here, I'm the Hatred's Chosen. I got the objective complete. There, that's what come at me. That's what you're looking to have complete. Oh, who's that? A level 100. What's that? A barb. All right. Let's see what he got. Not much. Wow, I think I killed him. So those are the 5 minutes when I was the Hatred's Chosen. Who's that? That's a Korean player. Well, usually Korean players are a lot tougher than this guy, but hey, I'll take anything. What do we have here? Level 100. Is that a barb? I'm not too sure. No, it's very mobile. Yeah, that's a barb. But he's running away, so I'm not sure what his build is. So yeah, there's something I wanted to say. So those videos are really intended for new players, and I'm, starting little by little. I'm going to take you to what's interesting about PvP. After this initial set of videos, when I look for hidden breakpoints and give you a few starter builds, I'm going to do a few dueling with some tough players. And I'm going to report on matchups and stuff. So it's not going to be, this is easy things, like easy content, because I know more than they know, my opponents, that is. So I'm just out macroing them because I know more things and I'm implementing a better build than they are, and that's how I kill them. But when it comes to a duel, when someone is knowledgeable and skilled, I'm not expecting to win many matches, but hey, I'll try, and I'll definitely give you some information on my findings. So here's that's the last 10 seconds of the Hatred's Chosen buff. It doesn't do much. It's going to recycle my 19,700 shards, and it's going to turn it into dust, red dust, I believe that's called. And that's all it's doing, and there's not even a message at the end. So that's nice that during the last second of my Hatred's Chosen buff, I believe enemies can see me on the map, so maybe that's why so many people were running at me. And during the last second, I managed to kill 2. I didn't pay attention to their level or what these guys were running. So that's it for this video. Don't believe, not don't believe, but I made a mistake. I failed for the myth of the 45% damage reduction in one of the previous videos. This video is about telling you this is wrong. I was wrong, and I'm going to rectify the information that I provided. Yet, what I provided last time is still a valid build, because there are many pro players that are aiming for this 40 to 45% damage reduction sweet spot. It's not a cap, it's a sweet spot they like to be in, and then they would use the rest of their resource for their build in damage or utility or mana or whatever. But the build remains valid because having those 40 to 45% damage reduction and everything else in damage is a valid strategy. You're just more squishy than what I'll be trying to build next. Okay. So that's all I wanted to say and cover during this video. This is Wismeril signing off. Expect to see a lot more videos introducing you to PvP and helping you on your journey to dominate the battlefield. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.